And I've been yoinked and hugged and squeezed and... Hi, Tobin. How's it going? Hopefully it's going alright. I'm just waiting for everything to load in. There we go. Alright, hi! So, to anyone who's here early, I do just want to point out I have updated my rules. I'm good, how are you? I'm doing well today. We're going to be doing some programming today. Ignore that my voice is a little deeper than normal. I woke up just... And Heavy... Heavy comes in here with a squeeze. How's it going, Heavy? How's it going, Tobin? Nice to see you guys in chat today. Alright, so... all the hugs indeed. Let me go ahead and set some stuff up so I'm not scrambling as badly. Alright. Just really hoping. Hands going into hot soapy water, let's see them coats. Alrighty. I just want to make sure of one thing. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Alright, we will do our best to avoid having that be an issue. Is that a broken computer monitor? That's a CRT monitor. That's definitely a thing. Alright, so I think... Oh, hydrate. Hi, Swift. Hydrate. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let me... Hi, Em and Heavy. Hi. How's it going? Hopefully it's going well. I'm trying to remember what I was gonna do first. I never decided. That's right. But today we're gonna be doing some programming. So I would like to first start off with... Has anybody done any programming before? It's going good and I woke up an hour ago. Fair enough. Hi, Aqua. Hi, Reality. How's it going? Welcome into stream. Hi, Tobin. Hi, Swifter. Yep. Hello, everyone. Welcome into stream. Hopefully you all enjoyed today's stream. I don't know how long it's going to go for, but I'm definitely going to try my best to make it at least educational and hopefully enjoyable as well. Has Heavy done programming? I don't know, Heavy, have you done any programming before? And it's going well? That's good to hear. Alright, so let me think. I want to pull up this. Hi, Aqua nervously sweats. Heavy. Okay. So I feel like I should start off with... I actually don't have a C compiler, that's right. So I may want to avoid doing C until I have a Linux virtual machine set up. Then in that case, I say we start off with some JavaScript? JavaScript's a pretty useful one. We can use JavaScript. Do I happen to have Node.js installed? That's the real question. CD, no, PowerShell. Alright, how's it going? It's going well. I'm getting things set up beforehand so I don't accidentally dox myself, but like, you know. Open the PowerShell window there. Yes, that's good, there we are. Alright, so let us switch to here? Yeah, alright, that seems like that text is probably kind of small for you guys. I don't know. Let me know if you can read the text right now. Hopefully you can read that. That's good to hear. Yeah. Hopefully you can read that, because that's about the text size on my machine as a whole, and I think that's probably a little bit small for stream. Well, okay, I can read it in the small box, so I think it should be fine. Let me know if you have a hard time reading it, though. It's fine on PC, would likely be too small if I were on... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, which may make this a little bit hard to do. But should be alright. But all good for me now. Alrighty. Let's go to code on stream. Let me just have this window open. I should have had that window open. It's fine. Alright. Let's start off with some JavaScript. Let me see if I have Node. I do have Node installed. Sweet. I am in fact prepared. So, in order to start off today, we're going to work on a small calculator program, which will work in the command line, which is the most simplistic of program that you can make, is a command line program. Very easy to work with, very easy to set up. You don't have to work with any kind of GUI nonsense. It's alright for me? Good to hear, good to hear. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new text document. We're going to call it main.js. Yes, I know I'm changing the file extension. That was the main point. In order to have a file be read as a code file, it needs to have the file extension of the code that you're writing. For JavaScript, it's JS. For C++, it's .cpp. For Java, I think it's .java, or actually I don't remember what the Java extension is. I haven't used Java in a while. I haven't needed to use Java in a while. That's the distinction. For Python, it's .py, stuff like that. So in order to see these, you go in here, you go to, what is it, View? No. I forgot how to do this. It was up here, that's right. You do file name extensions under this taskbar. You go to file name extensions and click the checkbox. Then you can see the actual extension, so this says .js. If I turn that off, it just says main. So in order to be able to do coding, high chance you need to turn this on. And if you're just existing as a human with a computer, kinda recommend turning that on anyway, just because. Anyways, we will open up the file, always just, I don't know why it took that off. What is the Node thing you mentioned? So Node is a framework for running JavaScript code on a server. If I do this and I pull this down, in order to get Node on your own machine, you go to nodejs.org and download for Windows. I believe there are downloads for other... Yeah, there is an other downloads thing here, but I use Windows, so that's where I would go. You download this, you run the executable file, it installs it on your machine. Can you turn up the mic volume a little? My mic volume is all the way up. Hello? Is this any better? Because my mic, I am talking at the normal level that I normally talk at, so... I don't think anything's changed on my end. Yeah, no, that's as high as it could go. Let me know if that's okay, Aqua. I'm waiting to hear from Aqua to see if the mic volume is okay. Yeah, it is. Okay, sweet. Alright, but from here you will download the... I would recommend downloading the one that's recommended. There's really no reason that you need to do cutting edge unless you're like absolutely trying to push the boundaries of whatever. Weird, it was quieter for me. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know, because I didn't change anything. Anyways, you download from here to get Node. Node lets you run JavaScript code, which is typically run on a website, but you run it on the server. It's a very easy to use scripting language. I personally like it for its syntax. It's a close competitor to Python. Python being another scripting language, which has a lot of support, which we'll probably look at later if I have Python installed, but so we'll minimize that because I don't need that up right now. So now we are in a file titled main.js. This means that any code we write in here, and I kind of missed the thing you activated in files while spell checking. Okay, so in here, in your file explorer, you go to view, and then over here with file name extensions, I don't know if it would be localized to a different name because you are in another country. I won't dox you, but it's this one right here. It shows you the file extension, the actual dot, and then a txt or a docx or pptx or in our case JS. It's required to edit the type of the file. To be able to change the file extension, you need to be able to see it. It just makes sense. All right. So once we have a file, we open the file in a text editor. Personally, I prefer Notepad++, like .mp4.exe. Right. It's the file type is called the file extension. Right. So I personally, as I was saying, I use Notepad++. It's the one that it's free, open source, and works. Which is really all I need from it. But yeah. Let me close out of there because I don't need that up anymore. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so once you have that, you'll open it in a file editor. Notepad++, Sublime Text. You could use Visual Studio Code, I think, it has a lot of support for a lot of stuff, so I would say go check it out if you feel like. You could even do it in a full-blown actual like editor, but I haven't found one that I actually like for JavaScript, so I will use this. All right, let's see. Is there a way I can have this and my chat up? Not really. Okay. Darn. I was hoping to be able to get that in. Oop, and it messed up all my spacing. Of course it did. All right. Okay. So, what we're going to be doing today is a simple calculator because I feel like that is a great place to start. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get input from the user being the person using our program, the person who is going to want to use the calculator. So in order to do that in JavaScript, const readline equals require readline. So this statement, and this text is definitely small, so I'm going to zoom in. All right. So this statement tells Node, hey, I want to use the module readline. So I'm going to pull it in as the variable readline and point to it as readline. I'm pretty sure I spelled that right. And then in order to initialize this, so that it actually does something and is not just, I've loaded in the module. Also, I think I may have broken something on my... Yes, okay, I did, but it should be fixed now. I was barely able to see it, geez. Yeah, that's why I zoomed in. Hopefully you can see it better now. Hi, son, how are you? I'm doing well today. I'm going to be trying to do a programming stream, and I am realizing I am woefully unprepared for all the things that I needed to pull up, which I should have pulled up ahead of time, but it's fine. It's fine, we're doing fine. But yeah, we are currently building a calculator program in Node.js. All right, Oh, programming, IDK, about anything about that? Well, if you have any questions, let me know. There is a high chance that I'll switch to a language like Java, which is a lot easier for someone to start off with. Actually, you know, realistically, I should just do that. I should just start in Java. Nah, we'll finish this. We'll finish this first. Because I'm realizing that the module system is a bit of a confusing bit if you don't know what you're doing already. Sorry, you might go a tad fast for me. Right, which is why it's like, okay, I feel like I'm going to need to start in something that gets you into working code a little bit faster. Would you like to try Python? I could hop into Python too. That's fair, because I do know Python, because you know Snake Person. You know, that's fair. Yeah, actually, yeah, this is a little bit scuffed, but like, you know, I'm going to ever so casually check. Do I have Python installed? No, Python 3. I do not want to open the web store. Python. I do not want to open the web store. Okay, so I do not have Python installed currently. I will have to do that if I want to do this. Okay, so instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I heard that one is easy to learn. Yeah, I'm going to switch back to this screen while I get things set up for this, because, yeah. I personally dislike Python for its lack of delimiting characters. Lamau, yeah. Okay. So instead of that, because that was scuffed, and while it would work, I think it would be better to actually just do a website at that point. You know what? No, we're gonna do a website at this point. Sorry, Tobin, if you had set that up already. We're gonna do a website. It's actually practical use knowledge, so I feel like it's more worth doing. Oh, hello. Work, please. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Alright, pull that over. Come on. Stream scuff. Is it possible you could show how to download stuff needed it? Yeah, okay. So, this is Rolls a Squarespace ad. Aqua. I'm gonna get some food, be back soon. Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, okay, so here's why I want to do a website now, because you don't need to download anything for that. So, you know, there's nothing to download, there's nothing to do that, and you can set it up real quickly. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make 2 new files. I'll explain them after I've made them, because talking and typing at the same time is a bit annoying. New text document. Style.css. Okay. Alright, so we are moving to website. So ignore what we were doing before. Sorry, Tobin. We're gonna start from scratch on a website, because that'll actually be... Think of me like dumb 3-year-old because I'm new to this. Fair enough, fair enough. Anyways, this is why we're gonna start with a website. It'll be easier to pick up, and actually something that you could use. So I forgot to explain the things. So what I have here is an index.html, so a basic HTML file, a main.js, and a style.css. So the JS file is the same, but the style.css and the index.html are new files. And then I pulled them into my editor as well. So you don't have to download anything for this. You can do it in a regular text editor. Oop. That's not what I meant to do. Can I please move you? Oh, you know what? I just realized I'm not sharing the screen. Here we go. Scuff! So if you can see, I have an index.html, a main.js, and a style.css. These are the 3 basic files that you would need for any website. And yeah, you could technically do it all in one file, but I do prefer to separate them out, just for the sake of having everything in its own indexable file. Okay. And depending on how well the programming segment of this goes, we may switch to a game in the back half of the stream. Okay. So now we're going to start with the actual code for the website. All right. There we go. That's a website. I'm joking, but this is all you technically need for a website. This is technically the most basic of basic websites that you can have. Is a blank HTML file with the tag. Whoops, I forgot the that. With the tag HTML and then the end tag HTML. Which is funny, but like, you know. How do you draw them into the editor? You just open them individually, or you can go to this open button and select them. So in this case, I would do open index.html, and then I would come back, open main.js, and then it would pop up in a new tab, and then open style.css, and then it would open this one. You got it? Hopefully? Hopefully. But like I said, you can do this in Notepad, like straight up default Windows Notepad. Thanks. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Just like how you would in video editors. Yeah. Just like in almost any other editor, you just open the files. You draw the files. You can either drag the files in or use the open button or right-click on it and edit in whatever editor, but essentially in some capacity, open the file. So from here, we have a blank HTML page because we have a starting tag, which is denoted by the less than, the tag name, and then a greater than sign, and then the closing tag, which is a less than, a forward slash, the tag name, and then a greater sign. So this is how all of HTML tagging works. So if we wanted to do a head, which is the header of a website, it has all the metadata information and it has like the title and stuff like that. We would do a less than sign to open a tag. We would do head, the word head. Then we would close the open tag, and then we'd press enter a couple times, and then do the closing head tag. So this is now a block inside of our website. In here we can do things like title. This is a website / title. And now, if we save this, go back to our thing, and open this in a web editor, which I will pull down here. Look, we have a page with a title, this is a website. There's nothing on it yet, but we have made a website by all technical definitions. All right. So now we actually want to put something on the website. Nice. Right. So now we want to put something on the website because a website with just a title is a little boring, not going to lie. So in here we can go and do a body. Nice. Yes. The body here is the area where we have all of our content. So this is like where you would have images or text or buttons or, you know, anything that you would want to put on a website, you'd put it in the body. Still might be moving a tad fast. All right, Tobin. All right, Tobin. So does anyone have any questions so far? I slightly get it. Anything you're confused on? Anything you want me to clarify? If not, then I will run back through the what we have so far. How do you add the image to the body and how do you activate the body? Okay, so I'm not quite sure what you mean by activate, but if it is in the web page, it is there. If it is inside of this HTML tag, it is part of the web page. And if it is inside of this body tag, it will be rendered to the screen. You can do fancy stuff to make certain things not show up and then show up later and then animate themselves in and all that kind of crazy stuff. But Oh no, sorry, got distracted. I saw the tiny text down here in the corner on the small preview. Anyways, so is head the name of the website? No, the title is the name of the website. The head holds all of your metadata information. Um, so if I were to pull in one of my previous projects that actually has a lot of code, just to show, where did I, JavaScript, like to add it to the HTML, HLMI, so HTML, oh, that's the JS file. I don't want that up. I want the index file. Here we go. So this is a project that I used to work on. It was titled This Is a Game because I suck at naming things. But essentially, we have our big HTML tag for every web page. Then we have the title. Then we have a link to the style sheet, which I'll need to pull in anyways. I'll also actually need to pull in this one, which is a link to the script sheet, the script file. The rest of these are for like icons and stuff, which you can add the icons to the page. We'll get into that later. But everything in this head, it's all metadata type stuff. Stuff that isn't necessarily on the page, but is part of the page. So if we close that, add these here. So essentially, what we have here is an HTML page. Cool, it's HTML, it's a page, it's a website. We say in our head, we want to make the title, this is a website. It's not necessarily on the page, but it's part of the page's metadata. It's data about the website that the user wants to know or would be useful to the user, but isn't necessarily part of the website itself. Then we say, okay, we want a CSS file to be able to edit this web page. We'll pull that in with link href equals style.css. Essentially just copy this with the name of your CSS file. It's how you pull in an external CSS file instead of doing styling in the web page itself. And then same with the script for JavaScript, because like I had mentioned before, you can do all of this in the same page, but we will get to this stuff in a bit. So Tobin, you doing okay? Maybe. Okay. How do you write the link again? I mean, it's right here. It's link. So you open up a link tab, and then you have, I feel like I need to explain qualifiers first, or parameters, I guess they're technically called. Qualifiers is something else. You know what? We will come back to this. We'll ignore this for now. Ignore that for now. We'll come back to this. All right. So we've made a web page. It has a title. We want to put something on this web page. How about we have Hello World be on the web page? Wow. We have made a web page with Hello World. And if you don't believe me, maybe lagging behind a little. Fair enough. Okay. I keep forgetting that I keep closing that thing, and I shouldn't be closing it, but it's fine. If you don't believe me that that's a web page with Hello World on it, there you go. It's a web page with Hello World on it. Text is real easy to put on a web page. And if you want, I will pull the code back up. So if you notice, this isn't a lot of code, but we made a full web page that says text to us. How did you open the page? I pulled the HTML file into a web browser of some kind. I'm currently using Opera GX because it's the web browser that I use all the time, but you can use whatever. So if you right-click on the file and say open with, there should be a bunch of options over here. So like Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Opera GX. You'll probably have Chrome on here if you use Chrome. you just click on that. So right click on the file, select the file, and then right click on it, and then open with, and then select a web browser. Ba-da-bum. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Stop me if you do, because I feel like we have not done all that much yet. But yeah. And don't worry, we'll be doing the same project in Java again if you, because I feel like I should just go ahead and do it in Java after we do it in a website. Because a website's real easy, and it gives you a UI to work directly with. But Java is a really good language for learning. Uggalurk got into an argument with my little brother and need to come. Okay, Aqua, I hope you feel better. If I remembered to save, it would work. Fair enough. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, Aqua, take your time. No, saving is definitely a thing, and that's why a lot of editors have like plugins for autosave. I don't have one installed, but it's fine. Oh, I need to change that, but that's fine. All right. So from here, we have a website. It says "Hello World." You know, that's pretty cool, right? From here, though, we want to actually do something. We want to let the user give us data that we can work with. So in order to do that, what we're going to use is called an input. And if you've caught the pattern by now, we need to do a tag, input, and then end the tag. And then start the end tag, input, and then end that tag as well. So now we have an input, but what do we do with it? How do we determine what we want from this user? So if we're building a calculator, which I think is what we said we were building, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Then we want them to be able to input a number, right? So in order to input a number, we come in here, we add a parameter to the input tag. So you can add images and links in the website. Yes. Yes, you can. And we will get to that in a bit. But we will do that once we finish with the calculator part. We'll probably add some images for like a background or something. Anyways. So in order to, I was saying we were going to determine that we want the user to be able to input a number. So in order to do that, we need to add a parameter. A parameter is added by going into this initial start tag right before this greater than sign and adding the parameter name. So the parameter name in this case will be type, because we're specifying the type of an input. Then we say type is equal to, and then we give some quotation marks so that we can actually have some text in there. And since we want them to be able to input a number, I'm like 99% sure it's literally just type equals number. And then I'll remove the spacing so it looks better. So we end up with this. Okay, now we have an input for a number. And if we save and pull this up on our website, so if I reload, we can put in the number 90, but if I try to type any kind of text, I mean, you can hear my keys clacking, nothing happens. And it gives us a little handy dandy scroll bar on the side. So we can scroll through numbers if we so desire by that. Also, ignore that I'm zoomed in so far. If I zoom back out to normal, it's really tiny. And this is what it'll probably look like on your screen. But now we have a number. Yeah, 69A, Tobin. Okay, so we have one number. But wait, this is a calculator. Don't we need two numbers? We do. So what we do is we literally just Control-C, Enter, Control-V. Ta-da! Now we have a thing with two numbers, and if you don't believe me, ta-da, there's two number inputs. So, funny thing about how we can put an E in here, it's because of exponential form, but don't worry about that. It won't necessarily impact things unless you're key spamming. Anyways, we can do 420, and 69. Because we're mature here. We're totally mature. What are you talking about? I actually probably need to zoom this in a little bit more. But yeah, so now we have two numbers on our inputs. Now if we go back to our code, we want the user to be able to do stuff to these numbers. It's a calculator, right? 6960 Tobin. Tobin. We want our user to be able to actually do something with these numbers, right? So we need to add a button. A button can be done, if you've guessed it, like this. It's a button. And if I save this and go over here, look, it's a button. I don't know why it did that though. It's a bit weird. Oh, it's because there's no text in it. And that's a new button, not an end button. I forgot to close my tags. If we reload this, there's one button now. Ta-da! It click. Yes. There's a button. It do the clickies. So let's say we want this button to be, let's just say it's an add button. We want to add our numbers together. So we go in between the tags here and we do add. Because, you know, it's pretty straightforward. Something in between the tags is in the element. So if we go back here, look, the button now has the text add. Everybody good? Any questions so far? The button won't do anything yet because we haven't given it anything to do. But now we have a place for the user to put in a number. We have another place for the user to put in a number. And then we have a thing for the user to click so that it adds the two numbers together. So what are we missing now? We're missing something to give the user back the answer. Like, okay, I've added the two numbers together. Now, where's my answer? What did I get as the result of that? So what we need is an output, and we can do that. Can you like a search engine? Can you make a search engine inside? What do you mean by a search engine? Like searching on the entirety of the internet? Because that's a little more complicated, because that requires a lot of back-end stuff to be able to index the entire internet and search it. But you can embed a search engine. So I could literally take Google and put it on my webpage. We may do that in a little bit. But for right now, we're looking at a calculator. Anyways, we need an output for this thing. We need to be able to go, okay, I've gotten my numbers. I've gotten the user to click add. Now I need to give the user back a number. Search on the website, not necessarily on Google. You can search within the website. You need to have content to search for. And right now we have 3 things on our website. So there's not really much to search for. So maybe if we got to the point where it would be big enough that we could do that. I don't know. Fair. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, but it's also one of the, is there a reason to do this? Yeah, anyways, let's make the output now. So in HTML, there is an element called a divider. A divider is literally just a section of space. That's it. It's literally just a divider. And it is denoted by a div. So we create a new div, and this is where we're going to put our output, our answer. So for right now, we can say, this is where the answer will go. If we save that and reload the page, this is where the answer will go. Pretty straightforward to me. Stop selecting that. Okay. All right, so from here, there's a few things we need to do before we can actually make this work. The first of which is pulling in that, the The first of which is pulling in the thing that I had deleted because I said we would get back to that later. But we need to be able to have code. So this is supposed to be a calculator. Yes, this is a tutorial on how to make a very simple calculator. So hopefully if you get into programming, this will hopefully break the ice for you, because I used to TA programming. I used to also teach a little bit of programming. And the biggest hurdle I saw people see was there was a mental block of programming is hard. Look at this. Programming is not hard. Programming just takes time to learn how to do what you want to do. Everyone can code. Some people will have an easier time of it. Some people will have a harder time of it, but everyone can code. There is no magic. You have to sacrifice a goat at midnight to be able to program. I mean, sometimes it feels like that, but you really don't have to. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go back out to here because I forgot I need the thing. So I'm gonna pull in the thing. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. That's the right one. We're going to... Nice. Yes. Everyone can code. There is no wizardry involved. So I'm actually going to pull these in now. The reason I'm not typing them from scratch? What thing? This thing. You still have an extra T, Tobin. So this thing, these two lines. So the first line is a link tag. I don't know why it's called a link tag, but it's a link tag. Essentially it says, hey, we have a file and we want you to pull it in as part of the code. This is for our style sheet, which I will go over later. You can ignore this for now, essentially. The script tag, however, is what we're looking at now. The script tag says, okay, we have a... What tool are you writing it on? So I am writing in Notepad++. I think that's what the question is. This is my text editor of choice, but you can do this in any text editor. The reason I like Notepad++, there's a couple. It has line numbers, very helpful. It has syntax highlighting. So, I mean, you see the blue and the red and the black and different colors for different things. It's very helpful when you're looking for something. And it has a couple of convenience features, but I don't think we'll be using those today. But it's very nice. It can do a lot, and it can also hold multiple tabs, which is nice because I can switch between them, which makes things very nice instead of having to do standard Windows Notepad windows. Oh my goodness, I've done that so many times. Anyways, so what we needed to do, we needed to pull in our JavaScript file. Our JavaScript file is empty right now. Obviously, we haven't written anything in there. But we need to pull that in so that when we load this web page, which is this right here, you know, it actually goes, hey, wait, I have code I can run as well. And then we can have something over here that actually runs. Alternatively, we could do something like this, script/script, and write all of our code actually here. Personally, I don't like that. It gets very cluttered very quickly, and it's a pain in the butt to do. But you could do it. You could do, to take an example, console.log, hi there, and it would print hi there in the output console. But I don't like doing that. I'd rather have the console.log stuff in main.js. So for reference, console refers to the browser's console. If we pull this up, this area is for use by developers only. Scammers have been known to encourage... Yeah, this is the console. This is where anything would be done that would be console.log. You would see it here. And if you have any errors, you'd see them here. So we could do that line that I just put, console.log. It's very tiny though, that's the problem. Can I zoom this in? Oh, I can. Sweet, okay. We can put the line that I just put, console.log, hello world. And it prints hello world. So this is where JavaScript gets executed on the web page. But I don't want to do that in the body. I want to do that in its own file so it has syntax highlighting. Anyways, that's why we have a separate file. But in order to actually reference our elements here with JavaScript, there's one more thing that we need to do, and that's give each of these things a name. So for the input one, I'd say we do ID, which is the name parameter, is equal to, and then we come up with a name for our first input box. Let's call it number 1. You know, very simple, very, very easy. It's the first number, it's the number we want to call number 1. And then we come over here and we say number 2 because, you know, it's another number. We give it an ID of number 2. Then the button, we're actually going to skip the button for right now because I have a couple ways to do the button and we're going to talk about those in a second. And then we want to do the div, the divider, that we denoted as our output section and go output. You know, very straightforward. It's our output box. We'll call it output. All right, so for the button, there are a few things you can do. You can either set up an event listener, set up an on-click parameter. I had to think of the word for a second. Or you could do something with jQuery, which I personally don't use jQuery that often because it's a pain in the butt to use. It's actually not. It's really easy to use. I just don't want to learn it. And it's a thing you have to install or import or something to that degree. So we'll stay with vanilla for now. We can look at that if we ever come back to a programming stream and come back to this kind of thing. Anyways, my personal preferred way of doing the on-click event listener is with the parameter, which is literally as simple as this. So what I've done here is I've said we want to assign the on-click parameter, and we want to assign it to the value add, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, semicolon. This says, okay, when the button is clicked, so when our add button is clicked, look in the code for any kind of function that you've called add and run it. Functions are sections of code that can be run at any time whenever they're called. They're very useful. They're used in a lot of programming languages, like almost all of them, because they're just very useful. So from here, I'm going to take a pause and go, how is everyone feeling? Does anyone need any clarification? Does anyone have any questions? I am going to wait. That's the wrong pet. Also, it looks like it broke. Did it break? Oh gosh darn it. Let me hang on. Properties, refresh cache. I'm actually going to refund the hang on a second. Let me twitch.tv/Mirthu. Casually plugging my own stream accidentally. I want to go to the creator dashboard. Yeah, I want to refund that because I didn't see it happen, so I'm pretty sure it didn't happen, which is, you know, a thing. Manage requests. Reject and refund. Oh, another hydrate. Okay. All right, so let me see if the pet the snack. Why isn't that working? Hello? I don't see the thing popping up. That's not good. Did trigger fire break? Yeah, I'm not seeing it go. Let me see. Oh, I know why. I forgot to change these things. Sorry, guys. Let me fix the thing. Snack. Save. Gotta love scuff. Gotta love the scuff. I will refund all the points in just a second, and I'll give you a free couple of pets. That should be that fixed. That's the wrong button. Alright. Nymph! I got a nymph. Nymph request. Okay, so we're gonna reject these so you get your points back, and then I want to reload the thing, and then it should be fine? A tad confused, but I think I'm following. Okay. Anything that you're specifically confused about, feel free to stop me and ask a question. And let me real quick reload trigger fire so that it refresh the cache. And then if I do the pet, it should work. There we go. Okay, so thing about the pets, the big snack is for just chatting, which is the screen where I'm a big model in the middle of the screen. The pet the snack is the one for all the other times. Just letting you know. Okay, but everyone's gotten their points back and I gave you a free one. So, okay. We just added names to all of our elements. For reference, this is an element, and 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 this is an element. Anything within tags is technically considered an element, which is going to come into handy knowing that in just a bit. So now that we've given them all names, we need to create this add function. So we go over to our JavaScript file, and we say function add. Very straightforward. You say, I want to make a function, I want to call it add, you give it the parentheses, and then you give it these braces, I think is what they're called. They're the curly bracket looking things that if you hold shift and press the bracket button, it'll give you. I don't know why, but it's the standard to use them in like most, if not all, programming languages for blocks of code. Okay. So, we have created a function, we've called it add, and now we want to do some code in it. If we come back over to our HTML, we say, okay, I see that my first number input is called number 1. So I want to get the value that is currently inside of number 1. Let's consider the HTML at the beginning and end. That is the web page tag. I don't think that's technically... I think you can reference that, but that's also referred to as the document. So there's no reason to refer to it as an element when it is the entire page. Everything on the page must be contained within the HTML tags at the beginning and end, or else it won't be rendered to the page. Okay, so we have our input element. I see, yes, good. We have our input element, we named it number 1. We want to get the value that the user has put in there. So, we come in here and we say document, because this is how we refer to our entire web page, is the document. Like I said, everything within the HTML tags is a document. So document.getElement by ID. So we named our things with an ID. We're now looking for the element with the specific ID that we're going to put in. We do the parentheses because that's how you call functions. And we say number 1. So this right here refers to this. This is how we interface with our website from our code. This, for all intents and purposes, is this. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So since it is the exact same thing, we can pull the actual value that's being stored in there by saying dot value. Because that's saying, okay, document, go and give me the element that I named number 1, and then give me its value. So, for reference, we can then store this to a variable. Variables in JavaScript are defined with the term var and then a name. So we'll say number 1 is equal to the document that is told to get the element called number 1 and then that element's value. We're then going to store that in a variable that we're calling number 1 so we can use it for whatever we want to use it for. I went over a lot of concepts really quickly, so I'm going to pause if anyone has any questions. Let me know if you have any questions and I will do my best to answer them. So I'm assuming that means that nobody has any questions? All right. What you put there? What do you mean? That's kind of vague. In value. So this refers to whatever the user has put into the box on the website. So if I go back to the website and I put in 777, then over here, this entire thing will be 777. But if I put in 633, then this entire thing will be 633. So anytime I use number 1, the variable, I will get 633. Or 777 in this case, because that's what I currently have in the box. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I see. Okay. So now we want to get the second number. And just like with the first number, all we have to do, since we named them number 1 and number 2, is change the 1s to 2s. Because if it does the thing for the one, it's going to do the thing for the other. The exact same way. So now we have 2 variables that we can use for our stuff. We have number 1 and we have number 2. And since this function is to add them together, we need to add them together. So what we can do is we can say var output is equal to number 1 plus number 2. Very straightforward. It's a mathematical equation. If you have had like middle school algebra, this should make sense to a certain degree. Dishes and such, but I glanced over and I see a basic website in HTML, and I take it you're using Java to build the calculator, seeing it as that is Java I'm seeing. This is actually JavaScript. It's ever so slightly different than Java, but it has the same syntax, so for all intents and purposes, it's very similar. But there are some very key differences that you will run into, one of which is I can literally reassign a variable to be literally anything, no matter what type it was originally, which can get really frustrating, but can be very useful. Makes sense. Okay. Good to see, good to see. Yeah, I decided to do this instead of trying to do Node.js because Node.js requires a download, and that's like, we'll avoid that for the very first thing, the very first introduction to programming. At least with HTML, you can literally just do it with a text editor and a web browser. Okay, so now we have our output value. So if, say, this one was 6 and this one was 4, then output's going to be 10. JavaScript, Java for all intents and purposes, unless you're coding, that won't matter. Oh wait, you're coding crap. Yes, we're coding heavy. We are indeed coding. That is the point. But if we have a 6 in the first box and a 4 in the second box, then this value in output will be set to 10 when all of this code is done running. Sneck be coding. Sneck do be coding. So now we have the output value. We need to give the user the output value somehow. So what do? We got to go back to our document get element. So we say document.get element by ID. And then if we come back over to our HTML page, if we notice, we named this one output. We can grab the name. I know I had to make the joke, fair enough. We can grab the name, use it as the parameter for, I missed the quotation mark. We can use it as the parameter for the get element by ID function and say its inner HTML is equal to output. So this says, okay, starting from the top, we have function called add. It doesn't have any parameters, so let's just go. We create a new variable, we call it number1. Its value is set to the document.getElementById number1, so we're looking at the number1 named element, which is an input box for number, and we're looking at its value, which is going to be whatever the user put in the first box. Then we're doing the same thing for number 2. Oh, thank you for the pets, Heavy. Then we're doing the same thing for number 2. We're creating a new variable called number 2. We're looking at the element called number 2 with the ID of number 2. We're looking at its value, and then it's going to be whatever the user put in that value box. Then we come down here, we create a new variable, we call it output, and it is set to the value that happens when you add number 1 and number 2 together. Then we're going and we're grabbing the element that has the ID output, and we're setting its inner HTML to the value of output. Inner HTML in this case would be anything inside of that element. So if you come over here and you see this is where the answer will go, this is considered inner HTML for the element with the ID of output. So we're changing that to be whatever the value of this output is. So if we save this and we reload our website, we go 6, we go 4, and we click the button add. As long as I haven't flubbed anything, I'm really hoping, because it's the first time I've been programming on stream. Right, I forgot about this. So, anybody want to guess what oopsie I made? If you don't know, it's okay, because this is one of the quirks of JavaScript. That isn't a problem in Java, but it's a problem in JavaScript. If you notice, it took the 6 and the 4 and made 64. It treated them as text and not numbers. IDK lol. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's completely fair. This is a problem that happens with so close. Yes, but here's the thing about programming: we failed. We did, for all intents and purposes, fail. But that's not the end of the world. It's okay to fail and then fix it. I had so many of my students when I was... Did you ignore some rule? I did ignore one thing, and I didn't do it intentionally, but I'm going to treat it as a teachable moment. I had a lot of my students when I was a TA be so afraid to test something. They were so afraid to hit the run button when they had written some code, because they were like, oh, I don't know if it'll work. Run it. See if it works. If it breaks, you know exactly what broke now. Because I know exactly what broke now. It treated the 6 and the 4 as text and not numbers. It didn't add them together, it put them together. So if I go back to my code... Sounds scary. It's not that big of a deal. It's... all I have to do is say number, and do the same thing for this one. But gotta find the error. Right. It's not the end of the world when something breaks. As a programmer, it's really actually good when things break, so that you can fix them. It's really scary when you get something that works first try. Speaking as a data analyst, I have built macro sheets in Excel all the time, and sometimes things break, sometimes Power Queries have typos, etc. Right, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the beauty of computer science. It can fail, and you're still fine. You just have to fix the problem, move on, and then eventually you'll have a bug-free set of code. So what I have done here is I have said, okay, the value, you won't know it works unless you run it. Right, right. And that was the thing that when I was a TA, I used to run the labs as well as doing like tutoring sessions and helping with lectures. It's, hey, can you check my code? I don't know if it'll work or not. Have you run it? No. And it can fail, it can work, but it will always be rewrote and reworked. Right. It's not a one and done type thing. There will never be an instance where you can't just fix it. Try it again. Oh no, something else broke. Fix that. Try it again. It's not the end of the world, and getting over that mental hurdle is one of the biggest things you can do for yourself if you want to get into programming. So, let's talk about the fix that I did. It was treating the numbers that I put in the input boxes as text values. So it was taking it as text 6, I broke something, it does nothing. Whoop, that doesn't seem good. Well, we will, we'll walk through the code again, and hopefully you can pick out where something has a typo. Oops, yep. But that's not the end of the world. It's a good thing to fail. It's a good thing to fail so you can fix it and then remember not to make the mistake next time. Or if you do, you'll go, ah, yeah, I remember when that happened last time and it took me forever to find out what was wrong with it, but I know now. Hey, Oddly, how you doing? We're doing some programming on stream. This is a very simple calculator website. But thank you for popping in. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. We're talking about how anyone can program, and all you have to do is just accept that failure is going to happen, and it's part of the growing process. Anyways, so the fix that I did here, this section, stinking and ugly as you, no, Oddly, no self-deprecating humor. You're amazing. You actually do really good art though. Anyways. This whole section that I've highlighted was being treated as text. And in programming, text and numbers are different. Aw, TY. Aw, you do good art. You do good art. But it's text and numbers are different. So you need to make the distinction that something is a number or something is text. This was being treated as text, except the face every database I build doesn't work. That's fair. It won't work first try. I figured you meant fact. So what I've done is I've literally said, this is a number. Everything in these parentheses I have said is a number. I don't know why the double click is breaking on me, but... And this should fix it, as long as nothing else is broken in the code. So if I save this, we go back to our rinky-dinky website, we reload, we give it a 6, we give it a 4, we hit add, there we go. It's a 10. And now, we have a working calculator. It's very basic, yes, but I can do 10 and 4, and now it's 14. And I can do -1 and 4, and now it's 3. We have built a working calculator. And if you've been following along at home, you've now built something. You have programmed. Tobin, have you figured out what was wrong? If not, we can walk through the code again and we can find where the typo is. And don't feel dejected for having a typo. No. Okay, so is everything on this page accurate? Can't really see the what? So it does basic addition. Yeah. And it took us, realistically, it wouldn't have taken that long to do, but like I've been talking this entire time, so, you know. But, very simple thing. Tobin, how about you send me a screenshot of your code so I can see what's going on Discord? Because, I can actually have Discord. Commas in the peer, oh, okay, you know what, let me... How is this text size? Can you see everything? Hopefully you should be able to see everything. Alright. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to go too big because you can't see the... Yes. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So let me know if you find where you're missing something, but yeah. I'll keep talking about the thing. So we have built a very basic a very basic calculator. What we want to do now, probably, is go through and make different operations, because right now all we can do is add. Technically we can add and subtract, but all we can do is really add. What about multiply? What about divide? What about an actual subtract button? What about like crazy stuff like raising it to the power of 2, or something insane like that? What about that? Well, it's code. We can just add those functions. Tobin, let me know when you are ready for me to move on, because I will hang on to the screen as long as you need me to, because I am always happy to hopefully give people the inspiration to go code, because coding is fucking awesome. Anyways, while we are sitting here, how is everyone doing in stream today? Hopefully everyone's doing all right today. It is a Saturday for me, and I know I'm starting a little bit early because I wanted certain people to be able to join and not have to leave halfway through, but yeah. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone's doing all right. Saturday night here? Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Having a fun Saturday night, son? I'm doing well. That's good to hear. That's real good to hear. Well, Sunday, technically, fair enough. Doing alright. Dark in my place. Light is too hard on my eyes. Oh, that's fair. Very restful day. Can't spot anything? Alright. Hey, how about you send me your code on Discord, and I'll look through it and see if you missed anything. Alright? Same very restful day. Fair enough, fair enough. It's always good when you have a day off from things. Always good when you can take a day. Ba 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 ba. Ba bum bum. So, to actually make the point a little bit better, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, but if I copy all of this, come over here, and just do script. If we had written this function in here, notice that there's not the syntax highlighting like there is over here, but this would work too if I just comment this out, which, okay, the way that they do comments in HTML is so weird. But if this line no longer gets run, if I comment that out and I save it and I go back to our web page and I reload it, it still works. So you can do it all in the same web page. I just don't prefer to. Alright. Tobin, okay. Let's expand this. And expand this. Alright, capitalization, and you have a couple of spaces. So, Tobin, let me actually just send you the function that we made. JS. Alright, so capitalization is a very important thing when it comes to code. So if you notice, the G is lowercase, the E is uppercase, the B is uppercase, and the I is uppercase. Spelling isn't my strong suit. Right, okay, so there is a little bit that comes with that being important. Think I'll go sleep. Good night. Alright, son, have a good sleep. Have a good sleep, son. But Tobin, I sent you the code directly from what I have here. If you notice, there are certain things like there is not a space between the D and the parenthesis, and the capitalization is definitely a big thing. Also, you have an extra dot in between the get and element. Yeah. So let me know if that works for you then. And we will move on to, I'll put this all back. The backspace, or the undo key for the win. We'll move on to the next function. So we want to do, say, let's do subtract next. It's going to be very simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to literally copy this function, paste it, say, in my defense, I have dyslexia. That's understandable. Subtract. And instead of number 1 plus number 2, it's going to be number 1 minus number 2. That is the only thing we have to change. All right. So these are very two simple functions. They definitely didn't take as long to make the second one as the first one did. But it's the same thing. We make a new variable, we call it number 1. We get the value from the user input. Nope, I have broke more apparently. Huh. You know what? How about I send you the code files real quick, so you can see if there's anything different between them and yours. All right. Okay. Thanks. Yes. Okay. So, from here, I think what we want to do... Oh, we forgot to add the button. We need to add the button. Alright, so just like we copy and pasted the subtract function from the add function, we're going to copy and paste the subtract button from the add button. Subtract, and then subtract. Very simple to edit, very simple to add, very simple to change, especially when you're doing repetitive things. So now, if we go and look at our website, and we reload, oh no, there's a new button there. I wonder what that does. If we do 10 and 6, and click subtract, there's a 4. Ta-da! So hopefully this is making sense. Let me know if there's anything that's confusing so far. But to reiterate, or to re-go over it, we created an HTML document. We have a little bit of metadata with the title. We pulled in a CSS file that we're not using yet, so we're ignoring that for now. We pulled in the JavaScript file that we are using. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. Each of them have either an ID or a function assigned to them. There are 2 inputs for the user. There are 2 buttons they can click, and then there's an output. So let's look at doing multiplication now. It's probably going to be pretty simple considering everything, but if we copy and paste this function again, we do multiply. We still have number 1 and number 2. I should actually remove these comments. But then instead of doing a minus here, we want to do an asterisk, because in coding, an asterisk means multiply. Now this, if we add a button for it, should be done. So I figure we can go ahead and do the divide one as well. Just like this. Just like this. Forgot ID equals number one things. Fair enough, fair enough. Hopefully you have those in there now. I can see you a lot better and my monitor. I see we're still in the base framework. Yep. We are going slowly. Going very slowly. Just to make sure anybody who has questions can stop when we have a question and we can explain things. Alright, so these are the multiply and divide things. Yes, I'm dumb. You're not dumb, Tobin. This is the first time you've ever done it. Alright, so we have a multiply and divide function now. Very straightforward. All we did was we changed what we did with the two numbers that we pulled in. So we pull in the two numbers, we do something with them, we get an output, we set that output so the user can see it. So in the multiply case, we multiply them, in the divide case, we divide them. So we come over here, we add a multiply and divide button. Was going to say I feel like you could rip and burn through this code set in under 45 minutes and give me a scientific... Yeah, I definitely could. But I'm going slow so that people can follow. Sips tea smugly. Nice. Also, give me just 1 second. I will be right back. And in the meantime, I'll be on my be right back screen. So just 1 second. Alright, I am back. So, here's where we do this again, and we have a multiply and divide button. We do multiply, divide, and we change the text in the buttons to be multiply and divide. And then, if all things go well, we should be able to pull this up. We now have a multiply and divide button. If we do, let's say, 12 and 4, we multiply it. That's 48. That seems correct to me. We divide it. It's 3. That seems correct to me. If we add them, that's 16. Sure. We subtract them. That's 8. Sure. All right. So that's the very basic calculator done. How is everyone feeling? Hopefully everyone is feeling all right. Hopefully everyone understands so far. Holy crap. What, nostalgia? What, basic HTML looking? I am behind. That's... Alright. So essentially what we've done is we've taken the previous functions and just changed what operation we do on them. And then we've added buttons that call each of the new functions. So, how is everyone feeling? Not gonna lie, I am honestly kind of tempted to end stream now, start stream up in a half hour, and play a game then. But before I end stream, does anyone have any questions? Hydrate. Alright. I created the same thing using Visual Basic and used to build websites for me and my friends when I was a teenager. I just flashed back to the emo kid that would work time and run a vampire Tumblr and make Modellada signs on SIGs on DeviantArt. I just woke up. Can you show the .js file? Yes. But yeah, I think this went well for a first foray into Modellada. Okay, it's an art style. I can't say that I've heard of it, I apologize. But I think this went decently well for an initial programming stream, but I am realizing that I'm going to need a lot more setup in advance in order to really do much with this. Oof, big pain. Sorry, Heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end stream now. We're going to raid someone, I think. Yeah. And then in about a half hour, I'm going to start stream up again, and we're going to play a game at that time. Sound good, everyone? Let me see if I can find someone to raid. Let me actually go to here. Can you send me... Yes, I will send you the files, Tobin, don't worry. Let me just do that. There we go. I have sent you the updated files. Don't worry about it, Tobin. Yeah. Okay, so we will find someone to raid. Oh, come on. There we go. Thanks. Yeah. Let me head back to Twitch. And you cute. No, Tobin, no. But we will be starting up stream in like another half hour or so. If you would like to stick around for that, that would be cool. But you don't have to. Sorry, I fell asleep through. No, it's okay. So I think we're gonna go raid Akari, Starlight Akari. She's doing art. She re-debuted today or something like that. So dash raid Starlight Akari. So please, everybody, go say hi. Go love on Starlight. She is an amazing artist. And I will be back in about a half hour-ish. All right, I will see you guys later.